Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back. We are getting ready for our next game here on day 2 at the North America South Regionals. We are going to be seeing Rockin City from Round Rock going up against a team from our host league, Texas Roller Girls. Super excited.
Should be a good game.
Yeah, I think so. So neighbors knocking on each other's doors and then, knocking on each other's bodies, I guess, as we knock around the track.
Yeah, knocking each other around.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so let's roll through those rosters. Thin Mint, do you want to start?
Sure. So for Texas Roller Girls, the Chainsaws, number 007, Hot Pepper, number 04, Helga Kick You Ass, number 101, Kellerella DeVille, number 12, Milagritos, number 121, Megahertz, number 19, Jackson Villain, number 1945, Juicy Cooter, number 1979, Neuralize Her, number 2113, Delirium Trigger, number 218, Impact Play, number 237, Blue Jay, number 32, La Voodoo, number 337, Meg Riot, number 403, Lexi on Fire, number 68, Some Ho, number 76, Liberty Bellringer, number 826, Metallica Breath, and number 99, Battlestar Galactica.
Excellent. And skating for Rockin City Roller Derby, playing for the greatest hits, 07, Jackie Daniels, 1096, Chola Rola, number 13, S-Pain, 17 is Bacon Envy, 19, Goldie Hurts a Lot, 1966, Yodel, 1990, Rugrat, 202, Freight Train, 23, Fury, 297, Maneki, 323, Super Ova, number 4, Combat Kaylee, 44, Yellow Fever, 5011, Moxie Balboa, 512, Pearl Jam, 669, Miss Destruction, 69, Masticate, 7 is Sinner, 71, Cat Tricks, and 989, Dimples Destroya. These two teams come into the tournament closely ranked, with the Rockin City Roller Derby ranked at number 12, and they are the 11 seed. And Texas Roller Girls Chainsaws were ranked at 13 and came in as the 12 seed. Those of you who might not be familiar may be wondering, well, hey, if somebody is ranked 13, how did they get into this tournament? And that's because you had to have a minimum number of games played in order to be considered for regionals. So another team, and I'm sorry that I didn't look it up and I don't know who it is, but another team in that top 12 that's where their current ranking is, but they weren't eligible for regionals this year because they didn't play enough games. We got a lot of new teams coming out of the pandemic, don't we, Thin Mint?
We do, and it's an interesting tournament. It's an interesting time for tournaments because you see a lot of these new teams coming into the tournament that you didn't really see in before, like Rockin City and also Chattanooga, which we saw yesterday. These are teams that weren't really present in the tournament scene before 2019, and now coming out of that, you're really starting to see a little more variety in the teams that are coming in.
Yeah, I think perhaps a lot of folks are really thinking about what are their needs and how are leagues meeting their needs, and is there a league near them, and if there is or if there isn't, like, how does that really fit, and what do they see for themselves? And I think it's a beautiful thing that people are doing all the DIY. That is how Derby started. It's continuing to be that way, and we love seeing more teams. The more the merrier. We're
Absolutely.
happy you're here.
Absolutely, and we were talking about Round Rock and Austin being neighbors. They're neighbors in so many ways, like the rankings. Physically, Round Rock is only like 20 miles north of Austin, and a lot of the Rockin City skaters actually came, or not a lot of them, but several of them actually came from the Texas Roller Girls fold.
Yeah, which makes sense, right?
Right.
Being so close together. So that's really fabulous. And I'm from another one of the OG leagues, the Arizona Roller Derby, and so we see some of that too within our own league and area, where skaters might be at one league and maybe start another one or go to another one. And it's fabulous. There's space for everybody.
That's right. And we just heard the whistles to bring us into Derby action, so we're about to get started. Heading into jam number 1, we've got Freight Train for Rockin' City against Impact Play for Texas Roller Girls, and it's Freight Train out lead jammer for Rockin' City. Impact Play also out on initial pass after a star stash. Freight Train re-engaging the pack, taking that outside lane, getting the 4 points and calling it off before Impact Play can re-engage for points. Rockin' City puts in the first jam. Rockin' City puts 4 on the board, and Texas Roller Girls held scoreless.
Rockin' City off to a rockin' start here in their second game of the tournament. Bam, Nomad with the whistle starts the next jam. Rugrat wearing the star for Rockin' City. Neuralizer for Texas Roller Girls. And Rugrat getting knocked to the outside along with Neuralizer. Both are recycled back. Man, all the action down between the jam line and the pivot line. Neuralizer finds some space on the outside lane, gets chased down by S. Payne now with that beautiful inverted blocking and just consistent staying with Neuralizer until the pack gets so far spread out that there just is no choice but to let Neuralizer skate on through and pick up that lead designation. Oh, and look at this. Is that... Yeah, Rugrat had taken off the star, considering a star pass, but picks up a penalty, so we have a power jam. Power jam. And calling it off after picking up 8 points, freezing Rugrat in the penalty box, setting us up for a power start as we go into jam number 3.
Is your back or neck feeling funny? Have Dr. Alex realign you. He helps our skaters stay healthy and in the game. Located at North Hills Drive in Austin, that's Alex Vanderwall Chiropractic. Here at jam number 3, it's Rugrat up against Meg Riot for Texas Roller Girls, and Meg Riot out for the Chainsaws with lead jammer. Meg Riot re-engaging the pack, running into another TXRG blocker, and now with a tripod to contend with at the front of the pack. Meg Riot knocked outside, forced to the middle of the pack. Now rounding turn 2, Meg Riot is free for 4 points, and Meg's going to call that one off after picking up the 4 points, bringing Texas Roller Girls Chainsaws to 12, Rockin' City sitting at 4.
Two really effective jams in a row for Texas Roller Girls. Held Rockin' City scoreless on both of those jams. And the whistle means we are going to jam on it. And Impact Play getting out first does pick up lead. Pearl Jam is wearing that star for Rockin' City. Oh, that apex jump was like taking flight. Last 3 leads have gone to Texas Roller Girls.
And we have a track cut up against, that is Blue Jay going to the penalty box.
Oh, Blue Jay being joined by a Rockin' City skater. We're just having a lot of action there in the S1 penalty box. Someone went in, someone came out, someone went in.
Metallica breath also getting sent.
Big 12-point jam there for Impact Play and Texas Roller Girls.
And that's going to bring us into a timeout. A team timeout for Rockin' City.
as they should, I would think. This would be a good time to take a team timeout. They started out that first jam looking really great, right? But then Texas Roller Girls also rallying and have gotten lead the last 3 jams and held Rockin' City scoreless.
That's right. Also want to thank 888 Helmets. XL helmets don't belong on small heads. The certified sweat saver, better fit, safer fit. 888 Helmets.
Hello to all our friends in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Super glad that you're all here. I heard the whistle saying that the next whistle will start the game.
And that whistle is going to bring us into jam number 5. Freight Train wearing the star for Rockin' City. Impact play on the line for Texas Roller Girls, and Freight Train out front for lead jammer Rockin' City. Impact play finding some trouble in the pack. Knocked inside. Meanwhile, Freight Train re-engaging for points, picking up 4 quick points on the outside. Impact play stashing the star, trying to make her way through. Does. Freight Train back through the pack, picking up 4 points and calling that one off. Unfortunately, Impact play not able to get any points on this jam. 8 points going to Rockin' City with Freight Train, bringing the score to 24-12 in favor of the Chainsaws here with 24.5 minutes left in the first period.
So far in the first 5 jams of the game, the only time that Rockin' City has gotten lead or points on the board has been when Freight Train has had the star. And looking back at the last game that Rockin' City played, Freight Train made a huge impact. Those of you who watched it will remember the multiple jams in a row that she played, as well as the 50 points that she scored in that game. So back to this current game, though, it's jam number 6. Combat Kaylee with the star for Rockin' City picked up lead. Milagritos for Texas Roller Girls wearing that star. So a quick 4 points picked up for Rockin' City.
Combat Kaylee's going to call that one off from the floor. And jam number 7, it's Rugrat against Neuralize Her. Rugrat knocked inside, knocked to the infield, forced to recycle back to the pivot line. Neuralizer out in front up against a tripod of blue. And Neuralizer sent to the penalty box, so it's a power jam situation for Rugrat and Rockin' City as Rugrat comes out of the penalty box, and Neuralizer, serving the same amount of time, of course, comes right out of the penalty box, so both teams now even strength. Neuralizer out front up against a wall of blue. Rugrat stuck in the back of the pack at turn number 1 against their own tripod.
Wow. Pack's super spread out.
Pack is spread out, but those tripods are holding pretty tight. And Neuralizer out. Neuralizer not lead. So no lead has been assessed. Will be assessed. No lead will be assessed in the jam. Thank you, Muffin.
Yeah.
So this one's going to go the whole 2 minutes.
Both jammers picked up those early penalties.
Neuralizer coming back around on a scoring pass. Neuralizer down, but getting back up. And we do have a star pass. It's Goldie Hurts a Lot taking the star for Rockin' City. 19 seconds left in the jam as Neuralizer threw, Goldie Hurts a Lot through. And Goldie Hurts a Lot gets a penalty sent to the S1 helmets. Penalty box. Neuralizer stuck up against that wall of blue, heading towards the pivot line, and that one's going to reach its natural conclusion. Chainsaws pick up 7 on the jam. Rockin' City held scoreless.
So after Rockin' City picking up 2-3 leads in a row, it swung back over 2 leads in a row, and then this last jam with no lead, and opened up a chance for Texas Roller Girls to once again pick up those points. Goldie hurts a lot. We're in the star for Rockin' City. Impact play for Texas Roller Girls. Everybody together here in turns 1 and 2. Couple of skaters in the penalty box, including Goldie hurts a lot. So this is a power jam. Goldie hurts a lot, though, back on the track now, has removed the helmet cover, considering a star pass, but doesn't need it. Able to muscle through that pack and begin an initial pass. Impact play does have lead on a first scoring pass right now. Let's see, picked up some points, 2, it looks like, maybe 3 points. So 3 more points added to that Texas Roller Girls score, and 0 for Rockin' City. They're in jam number 8. Score 18-35, just under 20 minutes left here in the first half of this game.
Now we're in jam 9 with Pearl Jam and Meg Riot on the line. It's Meg Riot for Texas Roller Girls, out lead jammer. Pack is tightening up. Pearl Jam also out on initial pass as Meg Riot rejoins the pack, gets 4 quick points, get knocked out of bounds, and calls that one off. It's 3 points for the Chainsaws on that jam. Rockin' City picking up only vibes. Frogmouth is the world's market leader in roller derby uniforms, providing derby love for every size, age, and gender. That's Frogmouth Clothing. Visit them online, frogmouthclothing.com.
Jam number 10 begins. Combat Kaylee wearing that star for Rockin' City. Milagritos for Texas Roller Girls. And Combat Kaylee battling through and picking up that lead status. Milagritos had removed the star considering a pass, but able to find some space on the outside. Gets through. 1 Rockin' City blocker in the penalty box, still sitting. So they have a little bit of time left for that penalty. It's going to go on over into jam number 11, which will give the Texas Roller Girls a slight advantage as they start jam number 11.
And the whistle's going to bring us into jam 11. Freight Train on the line for Rockin' City, and it's already Freight Train out lead jammer before she hit the jam line. Impact play wearing the star for the Chainsaws. Freight Train trying to get that inside lane, does find some room, does make some room, picking up 4 points. Impact play out on initial pass. Freight Train coming back around, finding a big opening on that inside lane, getting the 4 points, calling that one off. Rockin' City picks up 8 on the jam. Texas Roller Girls held scoreless.
All right, we are now getting ready for jam number 12. 17 minutes left here in this first half. Score 30-38. Score at one point had been fairly spread out. A lot of points there on the Texas Roller Girls side, but it is now closing. Pearl Jam is wearing the star for Rockin' City. Going to see how Pearl Jam can contribute, and does well by getting lead. Meg Riot is wearing that star for Texas Roller Girls. So Pearl Jam now passing through the pack, getting swallowed up by the Texas blockers. All 4 of them there, just making it really difficult. Meg Riot knocked out, recycled back. 237 there for Texas, along with number 32, really doing a nice job on these blocks. And there, just a little itty bitty space on the inside lane, and Pearl Jam able to skate through, pick up 4 points. There has been a star pass. Blue Jay now with the star for Texas, approaches the pack, forces the call off. See how many more points are going to go up. 1 more point added from that pass, so now 5. Friends, we're looking at a 35-38 score in favor of Texas. We've seen a 17-3 run on that scoreboard in favor of Rockin. So Rockin doing a great job getting their jammers out and holding Texas to minimal points.
Combat Kaylee wearing the star for Rockin City, and Neuralize her on the line for the Chainsaws here in jam number 13. It's Neuralizer out in front. Lead jammer Chainsaws. Combat Kaylee also out on initial pass as Neuralizer signals and takes that outside lane, picking up 4 points, and Neuralizer is going to call off that jam, but it's not in time to prevent Rockin City from scoring, as Rockin City picks up 3, Chainsaws pick up 4, bringing the score to 38-42 in favor of the Chainsaws here with 14 and a half minutes left in the first period.
Man, things are really starting to get exciting.
Absolutely. They truly are neighbors.
That's right, in all the ways. Freight Train there with the star for Rockin City. Impact play for Texas. Freight going to the inside, up on the toe stops, but picks up a penalty. Looks like a forearm call. So this is a power jam for Impact play. Impact play, though, getting knocked to the inside. Recycles back. Man, Rockin City just with a revolving door of blockers in the penalty box, currently down to 2 in the S1 penalty box. They are currently down to 2 blockers, 2 skaters on the track, with Freight Train now skating back on the track from that S1 penalty box. Freight doing that signature juke and finds the outside lane on the toe stops and is through, skating up very quickly and forces the call off. Impact play able to pick up 4 points on that jam, takes that score to 46-38 in favor of Texas.
I know it's a weird situation with Freight Train coming out of the penalty box, but it's weird having Freight Train scoreless in a jam.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
You don't see it very often. Here in jam number 15, it's Pearl Jam up against Milagritos, and both jammers are working through the pack. It's Pearl Jam out for lead jammer Rockin City. And we have a star pass to Delirium Trigger on Texas Roller Girls. Pearl Jam through for 4 points and is going to call that one off before Trigger can re-engage for points. That's 4 points for Rockin City on the jam. Texas Roller Girls, no points, just vibes.
Man, they're moving it. They're moving the needle like in synchrony. Am I saying that right? It's like synchronized points. They're kind of staying 4 or 3 from each other. So 46-42 as we start this jam. Freight Train back on the track, going to see what she can do in this jam. Only 1 lead. And Freight Train in this jam has that lead. Meg Riot. Oh, only one name. Meg Riot wearing that star for Texas. Freight Train, 4 points on the board. This is a power jam with Meg going to the penalty box. Freight through for 4 more. And we have a lead change. This is only the second lead change of the game, as you may remember, or if you joined us late. Rockin' City started in the lead, and then Texas Roller Girls snatched it up, but Rockin' City is grabbing that lead right back. 12 points so far in this jam for Freight Train, and Freight Train is rolling right on up into that pack once again, getting tapped to the inside. Freight doing that thing where she like tucks away her arms and, you know, skates like there's no forearm calls happening here because I got my arms immobilized. So Freight Train is on a scoring pass right now and has successfully added 4 more points, 16 points so far in this jam. About 18 seconds left in the jam, 10 minutes on the period clock. 58-46 is your score. This is the jam that made that lead change. 4 more going up. Freight with 20. And that is the jam. Crowd going wild here for that beautiful 22-point jam from Rockin' City. Oh, and all the excitement happens here anytime we have a palindrome. That's apparently a thing here.
It is.
I mean, it's a thing in a lot of places, right? Then
60. Chip is very excited. 64-46. Rockin' City over Texas Roller Girls at the moment.
I'm glad somebody else points those out because I think they are amazing and fabulous, but I don't notice them. So thanks for sharing that joy. And we have a team timeout going to Texas Roller Girls. Would you like to sponsor the TXRG League or purchase ad space to advertise your business or show your favorite skaters some derby love? Feel free to pick up a sponsorship packet. Call or email. We'd love to do business with you. Freight Train has 42 points so far in this game, Thin Mint.
Wow.
And the whole team has 64.
Right. So Freight Train responsible for more than half the points.
Yes, easily.
All right, timeout is over. Jam number 17 underway. Combat Kaylee against Impact Play. And Combat Kaylee is up at the front of the pack, up against a wall of black, getting some assistance from a pivot. And Combat Kaylee is free for lead jammer. Impact Play knocked out of bounds at turn 1, but sent to the penalty box. So it's a power jam for Combat Kaylee. We'll see if the chainsaws can penalty kill here. But Combat Kaylee already through with 4 points. As the pack rounds turn number 2, Combat Kaylee approaching quickly. Taking that outside lane, juking to the inside, now to the middle. That wall of black holding Combat Kaylee back. Pack now at turn 3 into turn 4. Combat Kaylee through for 4 points as Impact Play rejoins the fun. Out of the S1 penalty box, Impact Play needing a tripod of blue at the front of the pack at the the pivot line. But Rockin' City's going to go ahead and call this one off. 8 points on the jam for Rockin' City. Texas held scoreless. 11 points for Rockin' City, excuse me. And the Chainsaws held scoreless. We've got just over 8 minutes left in the first period. And
we are about to start this next jam, jam number 18. Freight Train gets lead instantaneously. Neuralizer still battling to get out of the pack, chased down by a couple of Rockin' City blockers, but still able to get out of the pack and put on that pressure, forces the call off to Freight. And Freight is going to pick up 2 points on this jam. I believe that is the lowest scoring jam for Freight this game. Very well played by Texas Roller Girls, getting the 3 points. They bumped it up. There was a little sneaky last point that got noted.
Jam number 19, Pearl Jam up against Impact Play, and Pack is still standing still at the pivot line, moving back ever so slowly.
I think that's the wrong direction, Thin Mint.
I think it is the wrong direction. That's not Derby direction. And Pack is still tightened up. Impact Play knocked inside, forced to recycle between turns 3 and 4, as Pearl Jam breaks through, not lead, no pass, no penalty. Pearl Jam is not lead jammer, so Impact Play still has the opportunity to make lead jammer if she can fight through on her initial pass. Impact Play at the front of the pack up against a wall of blue at the pivot line, at the jammer line. Impact Play through lead jammer chainsaws. And now the pack is speeding up. Impact Play tries the apex jump, unfortunately does not land it. Is forced to recycle as Pearl Jam picks up 4 points on a scoring pass. Pearl Jam coming back around. This one's going to meet its natural conclusion. No lead jammer called in this jam. Rockin' City picks up 4 on the jam. Texas Roller Girls held scoreless.
Wowza, that was quite a jam. Somebody in the chat asking if they're going to post these later. Yes, these games are going to be recorded and posted later. I believe they'll be on the Texas Roller Girls YouTube. That's in the future. Rockin' City is on a 44-0 scoring run right now, so they have held Texas scoreless for those last 44 points, and I have a feeling we might see another points to no points jam with Freight Train out quickly and lead. Milagritos is wearing that star for Texas, had removed it, considered the star pass, is now out, so forces that call off. Nice job by Mila to get out quickly and contain the scoring ability of the phenomenon we know as Freight Train.
.187 killer pads, often imitated, never duplicated. Stick with the best .187 killer pads, worn by the most pros in the world. If you skate, you know why. Here in Jam 21, it's Combat Kaylee and Impact Play. Once again, we have a frozen pack. Pack is just hovering around that pivot line, but it's Combat Kaylee knocked outside. It's Impact Play on her toe stops, riding that tape. Lead jammer chainsaws. We do have a star pass as Goldie Hertzalot is the new jammer of record. A nice spin play from Impact Play. Once again, riding that tape for 4 points for the chainsaw. And first points in 6 jams for the chainsaws put on the board by Impact Play.
And Impact Play putting on a show.
Absolutely.
While getting those points. I mean, I was out of my seat with that toe stop work along the outer edge because it was right in front of us.
Absolutely, yes.
And jam number 22 beginning. It's Freight Train with the star for Rockin' City, Meg Riot for Texas Roller Girls. And Meg Riot out first, stumbles, falls to the ground, pops back up. Freight Train is also out of the pack now. Both the skaters coming around very quickly. Let's see what Meg does. Is Meg going to try to score some points? Well, the pack is moving so quickly, and now the jammers are together. Freight has passed Meg, so Meg goes ahead, calls it off. That was a 0-0 jam, and the crowd is lighting it up here at the Travis County Expo Center. That was the first 0-0 jam we've had in this game.
And the bench going absolutely wild for Meg Riot as she makes her way back after the jam. They're very proud of her.
Impact has gotten lead in the last the last two jams. My bad.
And jam number 23 under the way. Pearl Jam already lead jammer for Rockin' City. Impact play once again on the track for Chainsaws. As Pearl Jam comes back around on a scoring pass. Pearl Jam stuck behind a quad wall of Texas blockers. Impact play knocked to the infield, sent back to the pivot line. As this Chainsaw's defense is just preventing Pearl Jam from breaking through. Impact play with one to beat, and Impact play does break through on initial pass. Pearl Jam up against Delirium Trigger. Delirium Trigger giving a hit, and Rockin' City's going to go ahead and call that one off. Rockin' City picks up 3 on the jam. Unfortunately, I don't think Impact play came through on initial, but didn't go through a scoring pass.
So Impact not as impactful this time, but typically, Impact's impact being felt in the pressure that was put on to call off the jam. I was thinking too hard, and then the words weren't coming out. All right, let's focus on this next jam. Jam number 24, Freight Train with the star for Rockin' City, Neuralizer for Texas Roller Girls, and a Rockin' City blocker going to the S1 penalty box. Neuralizer knocked to the inside and recycles. Freight Train pushing forward, 1 to beat, now out, is lead. Oh, no, isn't lead. Neuralizer had been called lead, but I missed that. Sorry, fans. Neuralizer had been called lead, but got knocked out and then recycled. So very short jam, not a lot of space covered. And guess what, Thin Mint? We're at intermission.
Intermission already. This has been a quick jam.
It snuck up on us.
Quick bout so far. Yes, it snuck by.
So yeah, I'm all up in the action.
Right. And so we've got a 40-point differential between Rockin' City and Texas Roller Girls. Very physical game between both teams. And here we are at intermission. So we'll see you in 14 and a half minutes.
That's right. Thanks for sticking with us, folks, on the stream. We're so glad you're here, and we'll be back in 14-ish.
See you then.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We got 2 minutes to go until the end of this intermission, but we want to come at you with some fun facts from the first half of this game. First, some that have to do with points. The highest scoring jammer for Rockin' City, I think if I held out my hand and asked you all to tell me who it is, you would know. It's Freight Train with 51 points. That's 57% of the total points scored by Rockin' City. Rockin' City has also had lead jammer 54% of the game. And if I'm understanding percentages and mathing correctly, that means 46% were leads by Texas Roller Girls, and that's pretty close. Just an 8% difference, right, Thin Mint?
That's pretty close, yes. As we said before, they're neighbors in every sense of the word.
Yeah, and their 2 highest scoring jammers totaled 50 points together. That was Nora and Impact. So great showing by those 2 jammers. And also, people are always curious about penalties. Thinman, are you curious about penalties?
I'm very curious about penalties.
I'm curious about penalties. Maybe you'll all be interested to know that Rockin' City has out-penaltied Texas Roller Girls. 22 penalties by Rockin' City and just 9 from Texas. Nobody really in true danger yet. Miss Destruction has 4 penalties. Fury and Manecki and S. Payne also all have 3. But that's not really anything we get too worried about with those numbers.
Right. No one on Texas Roller Girls has more than 2 penalties. We do have Blue Jay and Metallica Breath, both with 2 penalties on Texas Roller Girls on the chainsaws, but that's really it.
Yeah, so looking really nice there, skating cleanly, Texas Roller Girls. And you know what else is super fun about Texas Roller Girls and everything being hosted here? It is the 21st season, and there are just a boatload, a whole gang of OGs up in here today. Just a bunch of skaters that were part of the league when it began or in those very early years and are now back to visit.
Hey, guess what? I have a list.
Oh my gosh, can you share that list with us?
Sure, thanks to DJ TJ for cluing us in, but it's Cold Case, Loose Tooth Lulu, Smarty Pants, Critical Sass, Vile Vixen, Stoneher, Angel O, Virgo Vengeful, Cataclysm, Hydra, Panthrax, Luann Splatter, Donka Shame, Rowdy Rothbaum, and Olympia all here. As we enter jam number 1 of the second period, it's Freight Train up against Impact Play, and of course Freight Train outlead jammer Impact Play with trying an apex jump, but taking the going infield and recycled. Freight Train back through for 4 quick points. Impact Play fighting through out on initial pass as Freight Train comes through looking for more points on the outside, going to the inside at turn 2. Going to call that one off before Impact Play can re-engage for points. Freight Train picks up 8 on the jam, bringing Rockin' City up to 97, just shy of that century mark. Texas Roller Girls sitting at 49.
Yeah, beautiful jam there by Freight Train, and Freight was right in front of us up on those toe stops bouncing, and it made me wonder, are there springs in those toe stops? Because it was like 3 bounces in a row and then out. Beautiful thing to see. And Nomad with the whistle starts jam number 2 of the second half, score 97-49 in favor of Rockin' City. Wearing the star for Rockin' City is Pearl Jam, Neuralize Her. For Texas Roller Girl, Nura, highest scoring jammer of the first half. Pearl Jam, though, out first, does pick up lead. Approaching the pack now to score those points, but Neuralizer putting on that pressure. Skating up into the pack. Forces the call off, but not before all 4 points are picked up by Pearl Jam and Rockin' City, taking them above that century mark. Score 101-49, but just 2 minutes off the clock. A lot of time left here in this game.
Restoration 1 Austin specializes in the restoration of residential and commercial properties that have been affected by water, smoke, fire, flooding, and mold. They have highly trained and certified technicians available 24/7. That's Restoration 1 Austin. And now heading into jam number 3, Freight Train and Impact Play. We've seen this one before. And something we've also seen before, Freight Train out for an easy lead jammer. Impact Play with a tripod to beat at the front of the pack. Does break through on initial pass. Freight Train coming back through, looking for points. Freight Train takes a spill, calls it off from the ground. We'll see how many points Freight Train was able to pick up. 3 points for Freight Train and Rockin' City. Impact Play, unfortunately, not able to meet back up with the pack for points. Rockin' City does get past the century mark, so we have hit a hydration moment. Go ahead and take a sip of whatever you're drinking.
Lots of water.
Lots of water. Hydrate or dihydrate?
Okay, sorry, focus. Combat Kaylee with the start for Rockin' City. Meg Riot for Texas. And once again, we got a jam that starts at the jammer line and then goes back a little bit before Combat Kaylee battling forward and taking lead. Now we got us in the right spot, or what I would say is a righter spot. Moving forward, Meg is at the pivot line. Oh man, Rockin' City continuing with those penalty challenges. 2 in the box. 1 was on their way to the S1 penalty box, told to go on back out. So y'all probably know what that means, but just in case you don't, you can only have 2 blockers in the penalty box at a time. So they're going to write down the other skater's name. That was Maneki. So Maneki will stay on the track for this next jam, and when one of the current blockers in that S1 penalty box is about to leave, then Maneki will go back and then sit for 30 seconds.
And that whistle is going to bring us into jam number 5, Freight Train. Before I could even say her name, out on lead jammer, impact play. Also out on initial pass. Freight Train is going to re-engage the pack, get points, and also impact play inside for 4 points. Both skaters. Both skaters coming back through. Impact play, attempting the apex jump, unfortunately not landing it. Freight Train back through. This wall is packed tight, so these jammers are having some trouble. The wall is backing the jammers up against the tape on turn number 2. Impact play knocked out of bounds. Impact play knocked out of bounds again. Impact play does find that outside lane and gets 4 quick points. Freight Train finding some resistance, finding some surprising difficulty getting through. This one's gonna meet its natural conclusion. Freight Train's not gonna call this one off, but both teams do get well, Rockin' City gets 7 points and Chainsaws get 8, bringing the score 114 to 57 in favor of Rockin' City.
I think this might be the first jam that that the Chainsaws have outscored when Freight Train has been on. Nope. In this half.
In this half, for sure, yeah.
Saved. And we're back at it with Pearl Jam wearing the star for Rockin' City, Neuralizer for the Chainsaws. And both jammers are out of the pack. Pearl Jam was first, picks up lead. Neuralizer approaching that pivot line and the pack, so going to force a call off. It looks like 3 points picked up by Pearl Jam and Rockin' City, taking that score to 117 to 57. 23 minutes left here in the second half, so in the game, and we're getting ready for jam number 7.
Teams lined up at the pivot line. Hand goes up. Whistle blows and jam on. Jam number 7, Freight Train, once again up against impact play. We're just seeing this over and over again.
Yeah, those two are playing every other jam.
Impact play knocked inside. And it's Freight Train out through for lead jammer. Pack moving back between the pivot and jam line. Impact play stashing the star, knocked outside. Impact play still on initial pass. Trying to fight her way through. Taking that inside lane, breaking through. Freight Train hot on impact play skates. A little jammer on jammer action. Impact play knocked out of bounds by Freight Train. As Freight Train tries to go that inside lane, trips up on a couple of Chainsaw skaters and calls that one off from the ground. 22-16 left in the second period. Rockin' City up 121 after that 4-point jam over Texas Roller Girls, who sit at 57.
And we are getting ready now for jam number 8. Whistle. There it is. There's that whistle. And it's Combat Kaylee with the star for Rockin' City. Meg Riot for Texas Roller Girls. I love this name, Combat Kaylee, and it feels like an action figure name for me. To me. So perhaps one day we'll see a Combat Kaylee action figure available in a store near you. No lead yet. All the action happening between the jammer line and the pivot line. Meg Riot pushing up at the front of the pack. Oh, Meg and Combat Kaylee right next to each other, but Combat Kaylee gets out moments ahead of Meg Riot and is called lead. So Combat Kaylee going to enter that pack, juking to the inside, looking to get some points before Meg gets there and calls it off. So Combat Kaylee does get 1 point.
Combat Kaylee still calling it off. all the way back to the bench.
Yeah, Combat Kaylee was very committed to the call-up. That might be like, if Combat Kaylee is an action figure with like, what do they call it? Like motion, jam call-off motion arms. Right. Motion act. I don't know what. Remember, like punching action. Anyway, it's your turn, Pivot.
Jam number 9 here. Once again, Freight Train on the line for Rockin' City Neuralizer, wearing the star from Texas Roller Girls. And it's Freight Train out front, one to beat, but no pack. So Freight Train is set free, lead jammer Rockin' City. And Neuralizer sent to the S1 penalty box. So it's a power jam situation for Freight Train, exactly not what Texas Roller Girls need at this moment. Freight Train through for 4 points. Freight Train seems to be someone very difficult to penalty kill against.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. How do you prepare for that?
Freight Train getting a little physical at turn number 4, knocking the pivot, knocking the Chainsaw's pivot out of bounds. Coming back around for 4 more points. Freight Train tries to go outside, tries to go inside, can't find an opening, goes back outside, does find the opening. 4 more points for Freight Train. As the pack edges up to the jam line, Freight Train through for 4 more points. A 16-point total jam for Rockin' City. Texas Roller Girls held scoreless. And is this the highest scoring jam of the half? Okay. Oh, gotcha. Yes, Freight Train did have a 22-point jam in the first period. So that is the highest scoring jam of this period.
All right, and looking to see how high they can score in jam number 10. We have Pearl Jam with the star for Rockin' City. Impact play for Texas. Pearl Jam able to get out first and quickly picks up that lead. Impact going to the outside, getting blocked by Cat Tricks. Nice tripod here with Cat Tricks and Goldie Hurts a Lot, and a skater to be named later.
Oh, we do have a track cut on Pearl Jam.
So you know what that means, friends. It's a power jam.
Power jam.
Impact play, a skater that can really take advantage of a power jam. And a nice, preemptive block there
by Trigger. It was funny. Trigger knocked the blocker out of bounds and then kind of hid behind some other Texas blockers.
Yeah, that was certainly well played. A nice little apex jump from Impact play picks up 4 points for Texas Roller Girls. Oh, and another one.
Another apex jump.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Impact play is a tall skater, really long legs, and certainly knows how to use that height to her advantage, just kind of flying over the apexes. 12 points so far in this jam. Now on another scoring play. Somebody's getting a cut track call. Oh, it looks like Pearl Jam. This is penalty number 2 in this jam for Pearl Jam. So you know what that means? It's another power jam.
Power jam. And that's actually That is Pearl Jam's second penalty.
Ooh. Okay. So no penalties until this jam for Pearl Jam. It's like when it rains, it pours for Pearl Jam. Let's see how many more points are going to go up on the board here. So Pearl Jam did pick up 3 points before those penalties, so that was added to the scoreboard, and 4 more points for impact play. So a 16-point jam for impact play and Texas Chainsaws. That takes the score to 73-141, and that's the first scoring run that Texas has had in the last 6 jams.
Jam number 11, Pearl Jam still in the penalty box, so it's a power start for Mila Gritos. But it's a short power start because Pearl Jam's already out and re-engaging the pack. Pearl Jam knocking out Mila Gritos, forced to recycle, and Pearl Jam takes another penalty. So it is a power jam for Mila Gritos. That's Pearl Jam's 3rd penalty of the game. Mila Gritos still fighting through on initial pass. Knocked outside. Tries to go inside. Can't find an opening against this blue wall. Forced to recycle on the back straightaway. Trying to get some assistance from her chainsaw pivots, but nothing happening. Some good penalty killing by Rockin City as Pearl Jam rejoins the pack. And Pearl Jam is out. Not lead skater. Not lead jammer because of that penalty. Pearl Jam threw inside easily for 4 points. And we see the Rockin City pivot sent to the S1 penalty box as Pearl Jam glides through for 4 more points. Pearl Jam back through, trying that outside lane, hitting some resistance, juking inside to the middle, and breaking through for 4 more points for Rockin City. And this one's going to meet its natural conclusion since we didn't have a lead jammer. Pearl Jam picking up 12 on the jam, bringing Rockin City to 153 over 73 for the Chainsaws, and we have a team timeout called by the Chainsaws. A good time to shout out ATX Women's Sports Pub. It's Austin's new sports pub exclusively for supporting women's sports. All fans are welcome. Coming fall 2024, visit them in the Vendor Village upstairs.
I think we're starting to see maybe a little bit more penalty trouble here as we're getting deeper into the second half. There are 2 skaters for Rockin City that have 5 penalties each. That's Miss Destruction and Maneki. They both have 5. Still, and nobody else with more than 3. So I'm sending them all the vibes of no more penalties, please. And here we go. Jam number 12 has begun. Rugrat with the star for Rockin City. Now out of the pack. That was 21-13 for Texas going to the penalty box after giving some lovely blocking. Trying to keep Rugrat.
That's Trigger in the penalty box.
Trigger. Yep. Trigger was doing a great job there with that blocking, but picked up a penalty. And Rugrat is lead. Completed the first scoring pass. Neuralizer still trying to get out of the pack. Has removed that helmet cover, considering a star pass, but there's no one to pass it to. Trigger's in the penalty box. course, lead is not available, so it doesn't really matter. Keep that helmet cover off until you're ready to score some points. 4 more points picked up by Rugrat. Total of 8 so far in this jam. No one in the S1 penalty box. I vote we keep it that way. And look at that. Trigger back on the track, makes some moves, and becomes available to receive the star. Has it in hand. Successful star pass noted by the officials. So Delirium Trigger now jammer for Texas Roller Girls. And Texas just doing a really great job right now containing Rugrat in turn number 2. Some offensive assistance being offered by Miss Destruction, but not quite enough. So Rugrat goes ahead and calls it off. That was pretty much an epic battle for 8 points on behalf of Rugrat and Rockin' City. 11 points. I spoke too soon. Pardon me. Score 164-73 in favor of Rocket City. Just under 12 minutes left in the game.
And jam number 13, second verse, same as the first. Freight Train up against Impact Play. And before I could say their names, Freight Train is out with lead jammer for Rockin' City. We do have a jammer penalty on Impact Play sent to the penalty box. It's a power jam for Freight Train. A power jam with Freight Train is something Texas definitely does not need right now, because if anyone can rack up the score, it's Freight Train. Freight Train coming back through as the pack rounds turn number 1 into turn number 2. Freight Train fighting through for 4 points. Impact Play rejoining the fun. Still on initial pass. Freight Train, meanwhile, through for 4. Impact Play out on initial pass, just behind Freight Train. Freight Train coming back around. Freight Train and Impact Play coming back around. Freight Train is going to call that one off before hitting the pack after picking up 12 on the jam. Impact Play, no points for the Chainsaws. Score is up to 176-73 in favor of Rockin' City with just over 10 minutes left to play.
The S1 penalty box remains empty, so both teams with full packs on the track. Waiting for that whistle. There it is. Jam on. Combat Kaylee with the star for Rockin' City. Meg Riot for Texas. Everybody's still at that jam line. Both teams blockers with very tight tripods or quads. Taking up all the space, making it difficult for jammers to go anywhere. Combat Kaylee got knocked to the outside. Right back up, though, and in. Combat Kaylee bouncing to that inside, able to make some forward progress, and is now in the turns 1 and 2 and pushing forward, breaking up the tripod now with 2 but as the pack gets closer, no need to bridge, and a duo becomes a tripod as Combat Kaylee is knocked to the outside 1 minute into this jam, and no one has lead. We are coming into that second straightaway. The blockers just really holding it down, making it very difficult for either team's jammers to get anywhere. And looks like Meg going down. A little slow to get up, but does. Recycled back. I mean, it's been a battle. It's no wonder there's a little bit of a tiredness here because this has been a rough one. Combat Kaylee finally got out, picked up lead, is now in scoring position, able to pass all 4 blockers as Meg gets out of the pack on an initial pass, so putting on that pressure. Combat Kaylee comes into the pack, hits up with 1 blocker, and calls it off right as Meg gets there, able to pick up 2 more points for Rockin City, score 182-73. Just under 8 minutes left here in the game.
On-site tournament wellness, book now at the Body Breakdown booth for massage, bodywork, and newly added IV hydration sessions from Radiant Hydration and Wellness. As we head into a timeout, I believe it's an official timeout, maybe? It's a timeout of some sort.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, it's a track repair timeout. And our officials just doing double duty. They can do all the things. They can call the calls, and they can tape the track.
A Swiss Army knife of Derby volunteers.
Yes, indeed. I just, I got a lot of appreciation for folks that just see a thing and do the thing.
For sure. Yep.
So we can get right back to the action. And there it is. Whistle blows. Decider runs ring pass right now. Right? Yes. And Impact scores first. Freight does have lead. Hasn't called it off. Freight got 4 points. Calls it off. Prevents Impact play from any more points. So a quick 4-4 jam here in jam number 17. Everybody back on the track. Getting ready for the next jam. Whistle means we have started the jam. That's Pearl Jam with the star for Texas. Neuralizer, or pardon me, Pearl Jam for Rockin City, Neuralizer for Texas Roller Girls. Oh my gosh. Like Pearl Jam basically like jumped way up in the air, like booty out, and then right back down. Didn't land inside, so recycles, comes back up, and now is out as lead. Neuralizer has removed the helmet cover, still trying to push forward. Pearl Jam has picked up 4 points. There has been a star pass, so Jackson Villain. Oh, Jackson Villain had accepted the star. Oh, it looked like there might have been a penalty, but it was no earned pass for Jackson Villain. So she is staying on the track and continuing to make progress. So both teams jammers are at the pack and looking to score points. Oh, no, my bad. Pearl Jam is in the penalty box. 4th penalty for Pearl Jam. Remember back to jam number something where Pearl Jam got 2 in a row, and then immediately following that jam in the next jam got 1. So a rough stretch for Pearl Jam. But there's only 3 minutes left in the game, so it's okay, Pearl Jam. And both skaters looking to make some moves. Pearl Jam is out first. Nice penalty kill by Rockin City. And they are really containing Jackson Villain. And Pearl Jam, like sliding through on the outside lane, does stay maintain space. So no penalty, no cut track, but also no earned pass, so no points on that. And we have an official review being requested by Rockin City. And everybody is just chilling on the track, waiting for the official review to be reviewed. So we're not sure yet what the official review is, but we are going to get back. We're going to let you know when we know, but this gives us a great time to make a shout out and acknowledge a couple of longtime friends, Vava Vroom and Virgin Who Can't
Skate.
We'll let you know what that was because I was talking and you probably didn't hear it because we didn't hear it either. But Vava Vroom from Rockin City and a Virgin Who Can't Skate from Texas have been best friends for like 13 years. And this is the first time that they have coached against each other. They hate playing against each other. They don't like to do any of this. But finally, they have had no choice. And so they are coaching against each other because it's regionals. What are you going to do?
They gotta.
That's right. So we're still waiting on that official review. We'll hear back momentarily. And shout out to everybody in the chat for sticking with us and making all the suggestions. And just want to say every suggestion that you've made is, if it was a thing that could be tried, it's been tried more than once because we all care too.
Absolutely. If I can speak to what's going on. So unfortunately, the venue that we're in is not wired for.
I think it's an enunciation issue. Give me that mic. Let me see that mic, my friend. See, it's really loud if you enunciate. This is a rock star game.